To the Calexico City Council, Calexico Redevelopment Successor Agency, Calexico Financing Authority Special Meeting Agenda. Today is Thursday, June 20, 2024, 5:35 p.m. Call to order. Roll call.
Mayor Camilo Garcia,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Javier Moreno, not here. Councilmember Gloria Romo is absent. Councilmember Victor Legaspi,
Present.
Councilmember Lisa Thailenda.
Present.
We have a quorum.
If we can stand up and take a moment for Chief Pompeo Tabares, Sr., who just recently passed away on June 13th, 2024. Thank you.
Who am I standing for the pledge? Lisa, you can do this.
Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda. If I can get a motion for the approval of the agenda.
I motion for approval of agenda.
Just do a roll call.
Mayor Camilo Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Javier Moreno is not here. Councilmember Gloria Romo is absent. Councilmember Victor Legaspi,
Yes.
Councilmember Lisa Thailenda.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Public comments and public appearances, not to exceed 3 minutes. This is the time for the public to address the City Council on the special agenda items only. The mayor will recognize you, and when you come to the microphone, please state your name and place of residence for the record. While members of the public are encouraged to participate, it is unlawful to disturb or delay the council meeting with personal or slanderous remarks. Group comments may be requested to limit their group comments to 15 minutes. The City Council is prohibited by state law from taking action or discussing items not included on the printed agenda. Please direct your questions and comments to the City Council. Do we have any public comments?
Yes, we do. First speaker is Raul Ureña. Okay, because he has items 2, 3, and 5. Mr. Jun Kim.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen, and the citizen of Calexico, and the city council members and city employees. I believe I have knowledge with my government budget, and I believe I am going to have a more faster to reading up, find out the money or how we spend. And I believe our council member is very smart, because you guys have a backup documents just right now, and then you guys are going to make the decision about it, budget. You're supposed to have time to read. Aren't you guys have just received the documents, backup documents of the budget? Public, it didn't. By the law, we have to have backup document as much as can provide it, even special meeting. And nothing there. And how we gonna read, how we gonna understand, how we gonna spend our money to where, how? I believe that we have a smartest the council members in our histories. You're gonna make the decision, you're gonna make the recommendation just right here, right now, so you got the information. No wonder we don't have money for our business, for the citizens. Because you guys are wasting money. I know some council member was not there, but overall, I'm talking about the city of Calexico council. their duties. And you guys turn around from your duty. Why? Because you guys just no complaint, just got the backup document right now? You're going to make the decision, the recommendation? Wow, you guys are smart. But you guys fail to serve the community in the right way. And where is open documents? So all the secret deal goes around? Oh, you guys were smart, to say, oh, we're going to make this one suggestions. Or we're going to make decision like this. I know it's not the final decision, but still. You guys have to have at least a certain time to back up documents to make the suggestions or accepting. Thank you.
Next speaker is Maritza Hurtado.
Maritza Hurtado, 404 East 2nd Street, longtime business owner here in the city of Calexico. With regard to the budget, I really appreciate the way that it's happening today, the presentation by each department. I think it's really important, especially right now, that everyone sees what the departments are doing and have that opportunity to hear them out, and that they are able to tell you about their achievements and their needs. One thing I guess I wanted to maybe add to the conversation, if we could maybe separate out a moment to allow the community to have some better knowledge, would be about Measure H. I know that Measure H has been really confusing to a lot of people, but it is relatively a very new account. It started out in 2010, so it's not a very old account. It hasn't been with us very long. But up until this day, so many people who have tried to understand what is it that's in that account and what it's there for, and maybe an explanation to the community about Measure H, because all of us that care about that and what happened there and how that is utilized may need this time around a better explanation. The other also that we're requesting most likely here is because ARPA was so manipulated. I know that the new members were not present when that happened. However, the city of Calexico had 7.2 million in ARPA funds, and those are really hard to follow because of the outside involvement in its manipulation. So when it was changed from Plan A to Plan B, many of us did not agree on how that was handled. Apparently it was handled with Ivy Equity and Justice, a nonprofit organization, insisting that we go with some of their surveys on how to spend ARPA. But right now that this is a different administration, we'd like to ask that ARPA be revisited sooner than not and understand what our balances are at this time, especially because we know that station number 2 could have been assisted with much of that. And of course, when it was redirected, it was very disappointing for many of the citizens that felt that their needs were not met. It was more like meeting social causes of the prior administration. So ARPA, please, for the citizens, we'd like to understand what happened to our ARPA and to understand fully about Measure H and appreciate, again, the manner in which everyone is reviewing right now, line by line. Appreciate that very much. Thank you.
So we'll go ahead and begin with discussion items. And presentation number 1, which is by Public Works Manager Lily Falomir, and the Public Works Department proposed budget for fiscal year July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025.
Good afternoon, Mayor, council members, and all of those present. My name is Lily Falomir, and I'm the Public Works Manager Administrative for the City of Calexico Public Works Department. The Public Works Department is composed of 13 divisions, which is Public Works Administration, Engineering, Fleet and Equipment Maintenance, Park Maintenance, Facility Maintenance, Streets Division, Calexico International Airport, Transit, Solid Waste, Water Treatment Plant, Water Distribution, Wastewater Treatment, Wastewater Collection, as well as we oversee approximately 90% of the capital improvement program for the city. The Public Works Administration is responsible for providing and maintaining the city's infrastructure, requesting funds for project, designating and overseeing construction projects, design, implementation, and coordination specific comprehension programs to deal with solid waste management and related issues. This involves coordination amongst public and private sectors. We also, in addition, are responsible to make sure that our capital improvement program complies with federal and state and local laws. The organizational chart for fiscal year 2024-2025 is, of course, always the city manager oversees the Public Works Department. Currently, we have the vacancy of the Public Works Director / City Engineer. Then, as the vacancy of the Public Works Director, I am overseeing the department. In our administration, we have an executive assistant, and then we have the current vacant positions, which is the project inspector, public works analyst, associate civil engineer, and engineering technician, which are currently in the recruitment process. The budget for the Public Works Administration only in fiscal year 23-24 was $320,716. And as you see, I broke it down by salary and benefits, material supplies, repair and maintenance, construction professional services, general liability, administrative and other costs, and also a capital outlay. For our fiscal year 24-25, I went ahead and requested approximately $606,886, which is a budget amendment request of $286, and that is to continue with the recruitment of our project coordinator, associate civil engineer, engineering tech. Also, because we don't have an engineer on board, I requested an additional about $9,000 for our professional services to assist us with any type of questions that unfortunately I will not be able to answer. In addition, the vehicle, we only have one vehicle in administration, and sometimes it's hard because we have to lend it out if I have to go to a meeting or if other employees within my department need to travel. I'm requesting another vehicle. And also, if for those of you who have visited our Public Works yard, in the Public Works Administration section, we don't have shading. So when we go into a city vehicle or personal vehicles, our vehicles are hot and we can have some safety concerns there. So the budget was presented. There were some deferrals. So if these budget amendments are, the $286,000 are not approved, therefore the Public Works budget for fiscal year 24-25 will be $536,886. Our Fleet and Equipment Maintenance Division provides preventative maintenance and equipment repairs to approximately 110 city vehicles and equipment. It does fire, police, library, recreation. It's constantly providing maintenance, or if there's something, police department, they have contracts with other facilities. They also take the vehicles, deliver it, make sure it's repaired, and then been brought back to the city. The organizational chart for our fleet and equipment, we have one supervisor, and then we also have 2 mechanics level 2. We have 1 full-time mechanic service advisor that is vacant, and we also have 1 limited term mechanic service advisor that is vacant. The budget for our Fleet and Equipment Maintenance Division for fiscal year 23-24 is $206,466. We requested for 2024-25 $308,181. And with the adjustment requests is to purchase a tire mount machine. Unfortunately, the machine that we have right now is deteriorated and is no longer used. We had to red tag it. So if staff has to change a tire, we have to take it to a tire shop. Also, staff is requesting a tool and storage box to make sure that the equipment is protected. And also, they are requesting a vehicle to have. So those are our needs for our fleet and equipment maintenance division. Our Parks Maintenance Division provides maintenance to city parks, green areas, baseball fields, public restrooms. The maintenance includes, but is not limited to, cutting grass, trimming trees, picking up trash, repairing and installing irrigation system, repairing plumbing issues, maintaining of playground equipment, tennis and basketball courts, lighting, fencing, and walkways. The city has approximately 22 parks with a total acreage of 60. And then we also have all the open green spaces, which is approximately 122 acres. The Parks Maintenance Division, we have 1 crew leader and 4 full-time laborers. That is all. So for our fiscal year 24-25, our 23-24 budget, we have budgeted $628,337. For fiscal year 24-25, I requested $1.5 million. And that is because I put in a request for 4 additional full-time laborers, as well as I requested funding for several parks that need maintenance and that we are constantly getting calls and requests. For example, the Carmen Estrada Field, Daniel Gutierrez Park, Kramet Park, Rodriguez Park, Alex Rivera and American Legion, Nosotros Parks, and also the New River Parkway. In addition, I also requested funding to have a park master plan. Right now, we do have a plan. It's not like a master. It was done about 15 to 20 years ago. But it's really necessary that we have a parks master plan, especially when there is opportunity for us to submit grant applications. The majority of the applications that I've seen, they would like shovel ready. So it would be easy if we have a detailed plan as to what park needs amenities, what can be improved, and that way we have it on the shelf, and once the opportunity of submitting a grant is available, we can pull it out and use it as backup documentation. The budget that was proposed last June 12th has deferral. So they deferred approximately $945,569. And that includes the request for additional staff and also request for funding for several parks. So if the budget is approved as is, the new amount for the Parks Division would only be $790,913. Facility maintenance, our department oversees approximately 17 facilities in the city. What they do, our facility maintenance is just like janitorial services, repair of plumbing, repair of electrical, fixing, painting, moving around furniture. And right now, this department only has 1 building maintenance worker. So for fiscal year 24-25, that was one of my needs. For fiscal year 23-24, the budget for the facility maintenance division is $152,709. We requested $405,457, which included 2 additional building maintenance workers, as well as additional funding for the Chamber of Commerce. And then the city has a building on the 300 block of Cesar Chavez that has there has been like 2 or 3 fires. We need to tear it down. It is a safety concern. So I am requesting funding, additional funding, because last year I only we only budgeted 60, but when I went out to get proposals, it was above the $60,000. So requesting additional funding so we can go ahead and do the demolish of that building. And the reason I'm also requesting 2 additional building maintenance worker is because a lot of our 17 buildings, they're already, they need a lot of tender love and care. We're constantly getting requests from the recreation department, the library. Recreation sent me an email this week how somebody went to go graffiti the whole north side. So I only have one person, so it's difficult for that person to come to City Hall, do the maintenance in the morning, and then if we have to send them out to the fire department, the police department, or the recreation department. So we really need assistance in having another person to assist us with the building maintenance. As for the streets division provides maintenance to streets, curbs, gutters, sidewalks, alley. They make sure that this traffic line is striping. They also, assist us with street lighting. We don't do street sweeping. Back in January 1st of 2020, that service was contracted out by Republic Services, and Republic Services contracted it out. So anytime we get a complaint about street sweeping, what we do is we create a work order, send it over to the company, and then we'll follow up with that. The streets division, it has one supervisor, which is 33%, because that supervisor does also supervise facility, parks. So it's only 33%. We have 1 street maintenance worker. We have 2 street painters. We have 2 electrician HVAC technician. And then we also have 2 full-time laborers and 2 part-time laborers. This division funding is through gas tax, and I think about 20 to 40,000 of just the general fund. But the majority of 90%, or 80% I should say, it comes from the gas tax. The budget for 23-24, it was 1.2 million. We've only requested 1.4. The difference of the 145,000 additional that we're requesting is because about a year and a half ago, the City Council approved us purchasing a bucket truck that will assist us in helping out with street lights. We don't have anything that the staff can go up and fix the lighting. So they approved it, and we expect it to arrive hopefully in October of 2024. So the budget amendment request just for those 5 divisions is 1.7, of which $565,000 are being deferred. So, I'm sorry, 1.1 million is being deferred. So, the Public Works Department also oversees the Calexico International Airport, which is designated by the International Civil Aviation Organization to serve international general aviation operation. It is designated as International Airport because we have the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol Agency. The airport is open 7 days a week from 8 to 5, and also if the aircraft needs service after hours, they can go ahead and request that. U.S. Customs is also there 7 days a week, and their hours of operation are from 6 to 8, and they also have after hours requests. The airport, I only have one airport supervisor and then 2 permanent part-time field laborers. The airport, the budget for 23-24 was $404,607. For fiscal year 24-25, we're requesting $497,070, and that is just for the cost of the, of course, salary and benefits, and then materials and supplies, the cost of paint, the cost of everything, water, the cost of fuel has gone up. So it's just very minimal requests that we are doing. And this is enterprise fund. This department does not affect the general fund. The Public Works Department has the water treatment plant as well as the water distribution, where we purchase water from the Imperial Irrigation District. It goes in through our system. It is treated, then it is dispersed through a pumping system into water lines and into the residents of Calexico. That department, just the water treatment plant itself, we have one supervisor who does 50% water treatment and then 50% distribution. We have one chief operator that is vacant. We would have one lead. We have 6 water treatment plant operators. And then part of the request for fiscal year 24-25 is to reclassify 3 of our laborers to water treatment plant operators. The water treatment plant is open 24/7, so there's always a operator in the plant. For our distribution, again, we have 50% of the supervisor. We have one lead operator that is vacant. We have 2 water distribution operators grade 2. We have 3 water distribution operators grade 1, and then we have 1 meter reader, but we're also, for this fiscal year, requesting 1 additional meter reader, and that is to assist us with the water shut-off policy that was recently adopted. That needs, more work for just 1 meter reader. For our water treatment plant, 23-24, we had a budget of $6.8 million. For fiscal year 24-25, we're requesting $7.4 million. And again, it's to, portion of the request is for an additional water meter, as well as the reclassification of 3 laborers to water treatment plant workers. The city also oversees the wastewater treatment plant and the collection system, which, we have different sizes of sewer lines. We have several lift stations, and all of that collects the sewer and sends it over to the wastewater treatment plant, where it's treated, and then it is infiltrated into the New River. So for the wastewater treatment plant, right now we have the vacancy of the supervisor, but we have 1 wastewater treatment plant operator grade 3, 3 water treatment plant operators grade 2, 1 lab technician, 1 wastewater treatment maintenance worker, 1 laborer, and then we also have a vacancy for a pre-treatment coordinator, and then we also have 1 heavy equipment operator that is also vacant. For our collection system, we just have currently 2 collection operators, and then our electrician is, our electrician that works for the wastewater. We have him working in both divisions right now, especially because of the heat. We have him at the wastewater, but we also have him at the streets currently to assist us. The wastewater treatment plant and collection budget for fiscal year 23-24 is $1.5 million. For fiscal year 24-25, it's 5.1. For this department, we are not requesting any additional staff. The difference that we're requesting is, again, salaries, benefits increase, the inflation cost of material supplies. So that's why we're requesting $591,000. As I mentioned previously, we do approximately 90% of the capital improvement programs. Every year when we submit a budget, we do a 5-year plan, and these are the projects that we hope to accomplish in fiscal year 24-25. Some of them are multiple years, so right now maybe the funding is just for design, but then maybe the next fiscal year it would be for construction. So for our streets and transportation projects, we have the following projects, which is the 2nd Street Bridge widening at the New River. We also have some funding to improve the Northwest Industrial EDA projects. We are seeing some current development in that area, so there is some money left over from the impact fees. We also have scheduled a street overlay for fiscal year 24-25, which we are estimating 7.1. We're also working on the design phase of the Scaroni Road improvements, which is from Cole and Jasper. Cole Boulevard improvements, also it's in the works, but we have estimated $2.2 million. We have weekly road improvements. We also are currently in the construction of the second phase of the paved alley project. We also have funding for bike, pedestrian, and benches. That funding comes through the Transportation Development Act. We are hopefully going to, well, we already received bids. We're just reviewing the bids submitted for Cole Boulevard between ML King and Bowker. That is approximately 1.6. We are also finalizing the plans and specs for sidewalks on Grand Street, Calexico Street, and Vandergraaf. And then also we have money that we are reserving to begin the Second Street bridge improvements on the All-American Canal, which that bridge has been closed for several years now. So only for streets and transportation, we estimate a $24.9 million. For the general government, we continue with the improvements on Cordova Park as well as other parks. For City Hall, we need to fix, for example, the entrance door. We have scheduled the Heber Park, the New River project, where we continue the construction. We estimate to finalize the project in January of 2025. Also, we have funding for playground equipment at the community center, and then also funding for the construction of fire station number 2. So those estimate $34,852,000. Our water treatment plant, if everything goes well and the rates are approved, we have the following projects, which is the chlorine analyzer at our East Side Water Reservoir. We are in major need of repairing and adding a new clarifier to our existing water treatment plant. The storage tank baffles need to be repaired. We also need to replace some variable frequency drives at our water treatment. We also need to repair other pumps at our water treatment and raw water reservoir. We also have funding every year for water line replacements. We will continue with the water and wastewater rates. And then we have a project which is switch to hypochlorine, which was brought to you several meetings ago, and it was tabled, so I'm hoping to bring it back soon. And then we also have funding to replace equipment at the water treatment plant. So for water just alone, it's a $10.1 million. And for our wastewater treatment plant, we have several improvements, which is lift station number 9 and 11. We also need to upgrade our UV disinfection system, laboratory equipment. We also have funding to repair manholes and sewer lines. And then we also have pending our wastewater treatment plant and expansion project that is approximately $46 million. But we are just, this, like I mentioned, multiple year project. We're just budgeting 24-25 with $25 million. And then also we have funding for wastewater treatment equipment. So we are estimating a budget of $42.7 million. So with that being said, by adding the streets, transportation, general government, water treatment, wastewater, we are budgeting $112 million for capital improvement program. And that is it. If you have any questions.
Lily, on your last 2 slides, right, you mentioned the water and wastewater rate study. So it's coming from both funds to pay for that?
Yes, water Water and wastewater are enterprise funds, so we don't use general funds for any
Yeah,
type of
right,
purpose.
so, but you have, 7,500 from one, and then.
Oh, yes, it's because we divide. Yeah,
Okay.
when there's a project that is both water and sewer, we divide the funding equally.
Equally, okay. Any questions from the council?
I have a question. Lily, on the capital improvement program under the water treatment and distribution project, we have some money in the past funded for the infrastructure, correct?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. I just want to thank Lily for granting me permission. I visited the water plant this afternoon, and I saw lots of things there regarding to the infrastructure. So thank you for allowing me to show up, and one of the employees gave me a tour of the water plant.
You're welcome. And I invite any council member who would like to visit our facilities, we're more than welcome to give you guys a tour.
Again, thank you for the report, appreciate it. And I know I always say that this is some of the, what you, sometimes we call the needs, but, all of these are, no wants, but these are needs, all of them. So, from what we have seen, and this has been for many years, always, that we come to this, time of the year where we do the workshops and the hearings about, our budget. So, but, we see them, and hopefully we can, work around the budget and see what we can help with, So, but thank you for your time, and thank you for such a thorough.
Yeah, and I don't know if other departments did the same, but I wanted to put what we actually really need. There is a lot of list of wants. Typically, when I'm preparing the budget for our Public Works Department, I send an email to my supervisors and staff, give me your wish list. They give me the wish list, then we sit down with them, and I say, okay, out of your wish list, what is what you really actually need? Because I know that our funding is small, and but I mean, I wish I could give you the whole 20 items on the list, but I can't. So this is the items that I placed on our budget for fiscal year 24-25 is the need list.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else?
I do have, I have a lot of questions, right? I just want to, state also into the record, we also just got to see these presentations for the first time as we sat down, and as the public saw them, we saw them together. With that said, there's a lot of questions. It's a massive department, and first I'd like to say thank you for putting this together. I guess every position is crucial from all the vacant ones, right? But given what's going on with the wastewater and the water rate studies, from the positions in those departments, which ones are the most vital besides all of them, right? That you're asking that are not on the list to be funded.
Well, for the wastewater, there's the positions that we have right now are sufficient, but for the water treatment plant, I did request an additional meter reader.
The meter reader, and that's on, because so we have the list of positions here, but it doesn't say which ones, like, that are being asked for. So it says Public Works, Facilities, new positions too, and then the amount to fund the position, but it doesn't give which two positions, right, on this list. So I don't know what list is that. Yeah.
But if I know our finance department on page 25 and 24 of the budget that was presented about 2 weeks ago, they do have the lists and which ones are current, which ones are requesting, and which ones are either deferred or are going to be able to be funded. But the positions that I have for water treatment, which is the meter reader, as well as a reclassification, they're already in the budget. They're not deferred.
Okay.
The only ones that are deferred are in the general fund, which is parks.
Oh, okay. Let me write that down. So for the Parks Division, it would be
For full-time laborers.
so here it says that those 4, but it doesn't say vacant. So it's these 4 for park
Oh, no,
maintenance?
that's the existing that we have.
Oh, okay.
The organizational chart on the presentation is the existing that we have right now.
Oh, here it is. Got it.
On the budget to the side, that's where I put the 4 additional.
And So here it says, the way you have it broke down on that section, for additional, and then it jumps to, so the salaries and benefits from 23-24, it shows, I guess, the four additional, but then it shows that there's even a reduction in that, so 357,507.
Let me go back real quick. Okay, so yes, our budget was 380 for 23-24. So for fiscal year 24-25, if I were given those four additional labor, it would be the 7.
Addition.
But because they're being deferred, then it's a reduction of the adjustment.
Okay. Thank you.
Do we have any public comments on this?
Yes, we do. June Kim?
Okay, before I questioning, I'd like to request about the budget, the full detailed budget report on the bonds that we issued about 10 years ago, about 8 years ago. We have a water and waste department. They bond they've been approved at $52 million, but they issued the bond about $16 million. What that time was saying chlorine and everything they bring up there, so we're gonna be good for that. And today, so briefly, when I see the water departments, it looks like I haven't seen that from that project. We have another big money spending here. So it seemed to me like a double dipping, which is we spent $60 million for the repairing or upgrading all the system. Now we put into our budget again to pay for that. So where is money then? So I need to know exactly what's going on. I need all the detailed information about the bond we issued for the water and waste departments, and new river project, the budget too. Because the New River project, they spent $4 million making one page of the plan, how they going to run the pipes. We paid $4 million. And like I mentioned it, is you guys, the super smartest. And then you guys can understand this one just a few minutes before the meeting to receiving this. It's a joke. I know some employees, we have just like sitting there it's been a while, just a very short time, but we have to have some answer at the right, correct budget. And also, did you see how much we're going to spend money maintenance of the street? Did you see it? A lot of people complaining about the street, potholes, side work. Do you know how much we have budget? You see, you didn't know, you didn't see it. Street budget, zero. And minus $300,000. And this year we had a budget about $400,000, and they only spend about 30% only. $100-some thousand only. So, you guys is failing to serve the community with the budget itself. And then throwing you guys to a lot of numbers, and you could not figure. And then you hear a lot of people complain of the street, potholes, and you have zero money, and water departments.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next speaker, Raul Ureña.
Muy buenas tardes, señor alcalde. Requesting my accommodations of 4.5 minutes. Muy buenas tardes a todos, queridos calesianos. Really, what a truly pathetic outcome to have a whole meeting, to have 10 people in the community present to this budget workshop. This was supposed to be an administration about accountability, about transparency, and about working together. And we can't even get more than 10 people minus your staff that are paid to be here to participate at a budget workshop. This council, I don't know if Mr. Mayor remembers, paid $50,000 for a survey of our own in 2020, 2021 that very clearly stated what the citizens of Calexico want. We know what they want. They want streets, they want parks, they want emergency services. Let's get to it. It's been 2 months since the recall and there has not been a single proposal on how we're going to solve these issues. Y para agregarle más insulto, hubo una auditoría del Estado en el 2022 que dijo que uno de los nexos de la corrupción en Calexico es la falta de transparencia, la falta de traducción de presupuestos al español. Mírenos ahorita, aparte de que no hay nadie aquí de la comunidad, no hay traducción de los presupuestos como lo recomienda el Estado de California 2022 en su auditoría oficial de esta gran ciudad. El concejal Moreno dijo que de volada, Women with Voice dijo de volada, traductores hay en cada esquina. ¿Dónde están? Les está recomendando el Estado de California que en este municipio Calexico los presupuestos deben ser bilingües. Por eso no está la comunidad aquí, señor alcalde, porque no les entienden. Esto no es participación. Esto es gastar y perder el tiempo. ¿Qué se siente reportar los logros de Esperanza Colio? Pavimentación, Río Nuevo. ¿Qué se siente solamente tener a la mesa los logros de la administración pasada? Bienvenido al ICTC. La línea sigue empeorando, sigue costándonos $1 millón al año. La entrada ya está duplicada. ¿Qué vamos a hacer? ¿Vamos a subirle el agua a los calesianos? Y lo único que vamos a hacer con ese dinero es sobrevivir sin visión a futuro, y tenemos concejales que apenas se dieron su tour en la planta de agua. A mí me dijeron, los de la destitución, los del recall, me dijeron que cuando ya se quitara Ureña y Manzanares que todo iba a ser fácil. Ya van 2 meses y no hay ni una propuesta presupuestaria. No hay traducción de los presupuestos al español y la comunidad no está participando. ¿Cómo le vamos a hacer? Tienen 6 días para generar una propuesta.
Stick to the presentation. You haven't spoken about the
Estoy hablando
You're
del...
just talking in general terms.
Sí,
Stick to the presentation.
le puedo especificar. Este es el presupuesto, igual que todos en su lista, de obras públicas. La mayoría de esos logros son de Esperanza Colio y de la administración pasada. No está en español y la comunidad no está aquí. Hace muchos años la comunidad fue muy clara en las encuestas que este municipio pagó de lo que quiere ver ahí. Y aún así, este cabildo en ninguna de las presentaciones, ya van 2 meses, no han generado ni una sola propuesta presupuestaria para arreglar los problemas de Calexico. Las calles, la garita, señor alcalde, para su información, tiene que ver con las calles, por eso lo menciono, porque es parte de este presupuesto. No sé si se ha dado cuenta que las calles, incluyendo la línea, están en este presupuesto, por eso lo menciono en este presupuesto. No sé si lo vio, que las calles están en este presupuesto y usted es el comisionado de transporte. ¿Qué va a hacer de la línea? Va a subir el agua y solamente vamos a sobrevivir. ¿Qué más vamos a hacer? A mí me dijeron que iba a haber un cambio político, que entrando los nuevos iba a haber cambio, propuestas, energía, inteligencia.
Thank you, Mr.
No la
Mayor.
veo. Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Next speaker, José Luis Contreras.
Buenas tardes, José Luis Contreras, vivo en el 820, soy miembro activo de la comunidad. Miren, quiero comenzar con esto. Es un desorden esto de que se insulten aquí a la gente. Voy pasando aquí y me están insultando. Esa es una cosa que no se debe dar aquí, Camilo, ¿verdad? Independientemente de eso, vengo a decirle a la gente de Calexico que esto que están haciendo ustedes está muy mal. Subir el agua para la gente está muy mal eso. Y creo que es por culpa de ustedes mismos. Ustedes que propusieron estas cosas, cortaron el agua a la gente en plena pandemia. Es una cosa inhumana. Eso que ustedes hicieron. Creo que tiene que ser de muy
Señor
poca
Contreras,
madera.
si se puede enfocar en la presentación. No estamos... Discúlpeme. Estoy...
Ok, nomás quiero, ya voy a terminar, nomás quiero decirles a la gente que se fijen bien por quién votan y que hagan su trabajo, la gente del Cabildo, eso es todo. Y no al aumento del agua, señores. No al aumento del agua. Que se les grabe, que se les grabe.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Leticia Cota.
Buenas tardes. Good afternoon. Leticia Aldana Cota, 417 Rosemont. It's interesting, se me hace interesante que escucho que qué bueno que ustedes tienen muy buen plan y que están haciendo estas presentaciones y que la administración pasada era la culpable o es culpable, pero se me hace interesante que cuando esa administración estaba, y voy a hacer el punto ahorita, cuando esa administración estaba y ellos se referían a administraciones pasadas, a ellos sí se les decía que no se refirieran, que lo tenían que arreglar ellos. La otra cosa que tengo yo que decirles es que espero con la nueva administración y que espero que haya transparencia, que es la palabra favorita o que utilizó muchísimo el señor García. Y que estén ustedes como nueva administración junto con su nuevo Acting City Manager trabajando en un plan de cómo encontrar fondos para ayudar a todos sus departamentos para que les puedan proveer sus necesidades o sus prioridades. La otra cosa, no es justo. La vez pasada estuve yo aquí y hice un comentario de que previamente cuando subieron el agua nos habían dicho que era para arreglar todo lo que eso que se está escuchando ahorita, que se va a arreglar, y nos dijeron también que iba a bajar el agua. Y yo dije, nos echaron mentiras. El señor García me dijo, no crea lo que dice el público. No fue el público quien me lo dijo o quien nos lo dijo. Nos lo dijo las personas que estaban allí, donde están ustedes. Así es que yo les quiero pedir por la comunidad, y como les dije la vez pasada, quizás algunos de nosotros podamos pagar el aumento del agua, pero la mayoría de su comunidad que ustedes representan, no. La otra cosa es no va a ser justo que ustedes le pasen la deuda creada por administraciones pasadas a la comunidad. ¿Qué onda? Eso va a ser una injusticia por parte de ustedes. La otra cosa es, hace como 2 semanas recibí yo una carta. Una carta era del condado, que aparentemente, y yo escuché ahorita que ella mencionó los alleys, o sea, los alleys, ¿cómo se dice en español? Callejones. Por eso es que voy a decir, y si no está aquí, por si las dudas puse un papelito para el número 5, si es que eso va en eso. Pero yo recibí una carta donde se me decía que se me iba a multar si no movíamos un carro que teníamos en la yarda atrás. Pero en primer lugar, no tengo ni entrada para carro por atrás de mi casa. Tenemos puerta. Y en segundo lugar, no tengo ningún carro, solo que sea mi alberca que quieran que mueva. La otra cosa, que yo llamé a la ciudad, no recuerdo con quién hablé, y me dijeron que ese fue un error y que era el señor Serrano, creo que el que estaba haciendo code enforcement, ¿verdad? I have my 4.5 minutes, please.
You have it.
Okay, so really quick, I called and I spoke to someone, I don't remember whom, but I received a phone call from the county stating that they have me with a code violation. At that time I mentioned that there's trees hanging over to the alley that prevents cars or people from walking by, and if anybody gets hurt, who's going to be responsible? The city, so that needs to be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I have a question for the Public Works Manager. If you could go back to a few slides for the capital improvement program where it's street transportation projects. Yeah. So, how long have you been working on these projects for? How many years? Because these keep getting pushed over year by year. How many years do you have working on these?
Well, the Second Street Bridge, both in the New River and it's in the All-American Canal, that's been about maybe 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
Then the street overlay, we haven't done a street overlay in the last probably 2 years. The Scaroni is new, the Cole is also new, Weekly is probably been 3 years because we had to go through right-of-way process. The paving of the alley, I think this is the 2nd year.
And I'm going to ask you, the paving of the alley, it's been longer because you had the grant money since 2020 or 2021, right?
Well, yeah, I wasn't involved when the.
So that's kind of, because I remember quite a few of these have been for years, right? And you've been working on these for years.
Well, I do my best because as you saw.
No, and I mean it in a
13 divisions, so it's a
yeah,
little hard
I mean
to.
it in a positive way, right? For years, okay. Next slide for your park improvement. The Heber expansion you've been working on for years, right? New River money you got years ago with a past administration, right? Initially, community center playground rehab, fire station 2 years, many years, all these, right? Okay. Next slide. A lot of these have also been in the works for years, right? That's where the water rate study came in, right?
Yes.
To effect, right? And you guys approved the water rate study April, 3rd, 2023? To get the water rate study, yes. The water rate studies needed to create a nexus in order to raise the rates. So when that was approved, it's because it was already in the process of being reviewed to increase the rates. That's why you need the water rate study. You have to justify the increase. So when that was approved, they were already briefed on what that means and what it entails. With that said, I ask that following the next comments, please don't take away from what our staff has worked so hard on for many years. Because regardless of who's sitting in positions, a lot of them have worked on these projects very hard. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So now we're going to item number 2, presentation by Recreation Manager Norma Gerardo on the Recreation Department proposed budget for fiscal year July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, acting city manager, and members of the public. Thank you for having me here. I'll try to be super brief. I know that it's many of us, and many of us have a lot of needs. Hold on, let me see. So the Calexico Recreation Department has 2 buildings, the Community Center and the Carmen Durazo Cultural Arts Center. We are hoping we get an additional one with the gym when the gym is built, hopefully. There's 5 members, including me, in your recreation department. There's the recreation manager, the recreation coordinator, the sports coordinator, an administrative assistant, and a cultural arts assistant. So what is it that we do? The Calexico Recreation Department coordinates and provides year-round artistic, recreational, and sport classes and activities for youth, adult, and seniors. We organize and provide health and wellness presentations. We organize and coordinate special events for the city. We coordinate field allocations for sports leagues. We coordinate and facilitate hall rentals. And we are in charge of the summer pool program for the city. I really want to share this because not everything it's bad. Some things are very new and are very good for the community. So what is new? What is new for your recreation department? We just got a new recreation management system which allows the community to register and pay online for their classes. So no longer they have to be waiting outside in the heat since 5 in the morning to make it to their class on registration days. We are very excited. Yes, thank you. As you can see, it's only been, since the day that I created this presentation, it had been running for 3 weeks only. And you can see that we have 748 people registered already in a total of 1,231 activities. So that is how big this is. This is only 3 weeks running. We have not started with swim class registrations, so that's gonna be another pool of registrations that they no longer have to visit our office and use their time, ask for time off from work to be able to do this. They can now do it that way. We are already registering income in this new system. Last time I checked, it was around the 10,000 already only for summer activities. So we're very excited of this new addition, and your community is excited of having it as well. So thank you for allowing us to have this. So what is it that we need? Well, we need a lot of things. We need staff, but out of the staff that you see there, and I just put asterisks on the things that are really extremely needed. We have a very robust program at the Arts Center, and we only have a cultural arts assistant. We need a coordinator. It is only fair to have a coordinator helping us with our coordinating the artistic and cultural activities at the Arts Center. We also need a custodian. Your recreation department is visited. Remember I just mentioned there's 1,270 people registered for activities. That's not on the daily. We have more because of the parents, the grandparents, and the children that go with those people participating. That's how much foot traffic we have in our facilities, and we have no custodian in either of our buildings. So we do need a city staff member that assists us with that. We are gracious that we have the assistance of a program that provides a volunteer to assist us, but that's not reliable. So the moment that we don't have that person, what do we do with restrooms? What do we do about cleaning the floors after each day? Then we have our 2024-25 summer pool program. In the proposed budget, there is an allocation of $35,000 already from Measure H, and there's another $35,000 that supports sports programming. So we have a total of $70,000 from Measure H for our department, but the summer pool program will cost about $70,000 next year. Now, if you remember, when I brought during, I don't know, maybe around March, the pool program for this year, I had mentioned that the school district will be taking in the fees that we will charge, and that would serve as a fund balance for next year. Unfortunately, that was not able to happen. The school district will not be taking our fees. We will take our own fees, but they will be deposited into the general fund. So once it goes into the general fund, we don't have those funds available to us for next year. So I just want to make you aware of that. We won't start with a zero balance because of the Measure H allocation that has been proposed, but we will still be short about $35,000 more. Also, overtime, I only have $1,000 of overtime, and probably only the Christmas parade will take that. And we have other events. We have the tree lighting, we have Playmania, we have about 6-7 big events for the city. So I had included an additional $4,000 more, $3,000 more, which were deferred. A weekend custodian is the next one. I was provided, and this is from a temp. This is not city staff. Through Hunter, we have someone who helps us prep the halls and clean the halls after each rental. Currently, proposed is $13,000. That would be a total of 44 rentals. That's it, the whole year, 44. So if I were to limit rentals to per weekend, I would need 101 rentals. And that is just if we accept 2 per weekend, and sometimes we have more. So at some point, we, the recreation department, will have to stop renting the hall because there's not going to be any more budget to pay someone to clean the rentals. I just want to make you aware, because once we have a finalized budget, I will have a staff meeting with my people, and we'll create a list 1 through 44. And it doesn't matter when it's rented out for. So let's say there's a reservation already for September 2025. That will be the next fiscal year. So let's say it's May 2025. That's number 1 already, and number 2, and so on. After we get to 44, no more rentals, because we won't have the monies to pay for that person. Also, special events. Fortunately, we had ARPA monies last year for the Christmas parade and the tree lighting. The city, the recreation department doesn't have an extra funding for special events. So last year, we needed around $27,000 to host those 2 events. So I had proposed to be funded that money so that we can secure a tree lighting and a Christmas parade every year. And if you have any questions.
If I may, thank you for the presentation. I do have a question. So right now you said you had a budget for 44 rentals. Ideally, you'd like to be able to rent it 101 times.
Correct.
With that said, how much does it typically cost to rent the community center or any area that you're renting?
So we have 3 halls.
Mm-hmm.
The community center is $600. Senior hall is $450. And the arts center, it's $500.
Okay. With that said, is there a break-even point, or it's cost-efficient, cost recovery?
No, I'm working on getting fees increased, and also putting a time frame for rentals. Right now, people can rent the hall all day. It is not very cost-effective to the city doing it that way, so you will see me come back with a proposal for the city council to consider changing the fees.
So currently, it's not even cost recovery. It's not a break-even.
I wouldn't think so, no.
Okay.
Not so many hours, not the way we have it established.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, what's the question? So piggyback on Ms. Salinda's question. So we do get income, but where does the money go to if you were to get, where does it deposit into?
For hall rentals?
Yeah, everything you said. Whatever money you get, whatever your money
Any
is.
monies that any department receives goes into the general fund.
General
We're no
fund.
exception. Yeah, we're no exception.
Okay, and then there's also cleaning. It's in addition to that, when people, when they make a deposit, if they don't clean, you take something for the cleaning, right?
It's included in the rental. So it's $600, and it's for the whole thing.
Okay. Well, what I'm saying is somebody rents, when you rent a facility and you do deposit, that deposit is for cleaning, no?
It's for incidentals.
Incidentals. Okay, so let's say you collect $600 or $500, whatever deposit. Where does the money go to? The general fund again?
General fund, correct.
And according to what you said, that we're losing money because we're not making money?
No, I don't think we're making money with the hall rentals. It's more of an expense for the city.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Definitely, I know this is not to review all this, but it is really needed that we review. We go back Because one of the things that we have always said that, any revenue that is generated should go back into the program or into the department. And also, when this council approved, collecting fees for this pool program, also that it was going to go back, to have some seed money for next year. That's not what the council approved. So, but anyway, so that's something that we're going to have to talk on a different time. But this is not the way that it's set up. It was set up to work. So we're not following a council direction. But we'll talk, after this workshop, which is a different issue. Anyway, thank you for the presentation. Any comments?
Mr. Mayor, are we having the commissioners, I would suggest take it back to the commission for recommendations, because we're not,
To take what back? I'm sorry.
to fix the problem that we're making even, which if we're renting and we're not making,
Yes,
take it
once-
back to the, I've always said, take it
Yes.
back to the commission, let them, sort it out, whatever they have to do, and then bring it back for us to avoid all this.
Yes, once we have that worked out, yes, we will send it to the commission for their review, of course.
Right.
And Mayor, just for you to know that with this new system that we have, we will be able to know revenues into the pool program. So it's still going to the general fund, but I will be able to, at some point after the summer, I will be able to come back to you guys and say how well it did this year
Yeah.
and how much revenue was brought in.
And that is great to identify the revenues coming in, but also what I'm not in agreement and I'm really unhappy is how this was set up, how we approved, this council approved this summer pool program for this year, having the seed money and now coming back to find out that it's going to the general fund. That's not what this council approved. But again, we'll talk, we'll bring it back or work on that because that's not how it was set up. Thank you. Any comment?
Raúl Ureña.
Muy buenas tardes. Muy brevemente al estimado Cabildo, alcalde García, más que nada al vicealcalde, cuando quiera poner atención, porque este problema de las facilidades, de la renta, del community center, literalmente lo hablamos no cada año, lo hablamos cada cuatrimestre, es decir, 4x4, ya en el tiempo que estábamos aquí, ya se ha traído a la mesa 16 diferentes veces el mismo presupuesto de las rentas, de que falta personas para limpiar, de que no hay balance en los egresos y los ingresos de la renta de las facilidades. Entonces, no sé por qué tenemos que involucrar una comisión o todavía es una pregunta en la cabeza del señor vicealcalde Moreno. A lo mejor, como él dijo, él no es una persona de números. Pero en sí, la segunda, muy importante, la mayoría de las personas que se benefician del Departamento de Recreación son hispanohablantes. Precisamente por eso la Auditoría del Estado en el 2022 recomendó, el Estado de California recomendó que todos los presupuestos, todas las acciones presupuestales de Calexico deberían ser de forma bilingüe. Señora Norma, ¿tú crees que las señoras tan amables que hacen aeróbics, que hacen yoga, que participan con toda la voluntad de su corazón, le entenderían a este presupuesto? Claro que no, porque este cabildo sigue demostrando una actitud elitista en cómo presenta estos presupuestos de manera que la mayoría de la comunidad pues no entiende, y es precisamente por eso hay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 personas de la comunidad aquí. Esto no es un workshop efectivo, no está surgiendo soluciones. Estamos hablando de figuras minúsculas de $600 para trapear una facilidad, y yo tengo que tener la confianza que ustedes van a manejar bien los millones en los presupuestos más grandes. Por favor, demuéstrenme que estoy mal, quiero ver una solución. Si no podemos ni siquiera trapear cierto sitio y todavía no entendemos los egresos y los ingresos de ese estudio rentable, pues a ver cómo le vamos a hacer para solucionar lo del General Fund. Espero que haya una propuesta que diga, mira, de aquí va a salir el dinero, de aquí vamos a agarrar ese custodian, de aquí vamos a agarrar ese entrenador, de aquí vamos a... Eso es lo que queremos como comunidad. Ya verdaderamente estas peticiones se han repetido una infinidad de veces. Lo que no se ha dicho es cómo lo vamos a solucionar. Les recuerdo, esa no es tarea de la comisión, no es tarea del staff, es tarea del cabildo y del alcalde. Mucha suerte.
Joseph Gay.
Good afternoon, Council. No 4 minutes for me. I'm a big boy. I'm not going to come up here and try to belittle you or anything or try to make something up out of the fly. I just wanted to let you guys know, I think in the recreation department, I think we do need one more person handling the money and things like that. It's just something that I've been thinking about, not having to really bring it up because there's really no reason until now. The stipends that were given out for these utility boxes, these were not done through a council, chosen exactly. I mean, there was people that were picking them beforehand. And a lot of those people were friends from the past administration, okay? So we're giving out money to people, the people right here coming in here and filibustering you and making you waste more time. We shouldn't even be thinking about these people or even acknowledging them, because they do that kind of stuff. They'll take our money and act like they're doing something great and grandstand to you, right? We're not going to do that. We tell you how it is, how it should be. And for me, I feel that recreation should have another person. Seems like they have a lot of issues, but when it comes down to then, allocating monies or, handing people checks for volunteering or I don't know, whatever, someone else needs to be there, someone well equipped and someone that is not going to be biased, right? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Herrera. Item number 3, presentation by Library Manager Legaspi on the library's proposed budget for fiscal year July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025.
Good evening, members of the City Council, city staff, and the public. I'm Lisa Legaspi, Library Manager for the Library Department. Thank you for the opportunity of providing you with a brief overview of what this department offers to the community, with the funding you provide, and with the grants that we are able to secure to augment the services for the community. The library, the mission of the library is to provide resources to meet educational, recreational, informational, and cultural needs for the community and encourage lifelong learning. We provide a welcoming atmosphere for everyone that comes into the facility. Yes, we know that our building is old and we need lots of upgrades, but as is, we work really hard to bring various programs and services to the community. I want to thank the library staff for all the hard work and dedication that they provide each and every day. And with that being said, our department is a small department. It's comprised of 4 city employees, a library manager, an executive assistant, a library technician, a library assistant 2. We also have some contract services staff and students and volunteers. And with that, I want to thank also the Human Resources Department and the Police Department, because all the assistance they provide with processing the volunteers and students that we have all year round. The library department is comprised of two buildings, the Camarena Memorial Library and the Carnegie Technology Center. The library is open, the hours of operation are there. This Carnegie Library, Carnegie Technology Center is where we provide English as a second language classes and also a preparation class for citizenship. We also have 2 digital branches. We have 2 websites, one completely in English and one completely in Spanish. So the community is able to find the information that they might need. Just a couple statistics for this current fiscal year from July all the way through May. We were able to check out over 12,000 books. Our users got access to over 13,000 digital or platforms, whether it be ebooks, audiobooks, music, TV shows, comics. We have an array of digital platforms available to the community. We have a wonderful grant called the SIP Books Grant, and we were able to order 381 books. Those books were directly delivered to the users' homes. We issued 787 library cards. We saw about 43,000 people coming into the building to attend a program, just to relax at the library, use the restroom, or that now are working. We were able to serve over 4,300 lunches and snacks. This is through a partnership with the Calexico Neighborhood House. This summer, we extended our partnership with the Calexico Unified School District. They're the ones that are providing the snacks this summer. And we were able to add 1,125 books to the collection. So all that, it's a lot of work. And remember, we're only 4 city staff members. Some of the programs and services I'm gonna briefly, once again, review are programs that are offered throughout the year, but the summer is the most intense time of the year for us. We are in week 1 of the Family Summer Reading Program, which is an 8-week program. So we have activities for people of all ages, from baby time for babies, story times, we have craft activities, we provide the lunch, we have games, chess, we have STEAM activities, special presentation, teen clubs. One of our new programs is a Cooking with Ceci Kids Edition program. We're very excited about that one. Obviously the reading program for the summer, but we also have other reading opportunities throughout the year. We also have programs for adults, book clubs, tutoring, conversation classes, you name it. Some of the grants, or 3 of the major grants that we were able to secure this fiscal year is Lunch at the Library. We saw a big increase in that grant to $29,991, as opposed to last fiscal year, we only got $9,000, which is a lot of money for us. So 29 is wow. Adult literacy services, we saw an increase of to $46,879, and that provides us with the tools and all the things that we need to provide one-on-one tutoring for adults. The SIP Books grant program, we requested $7,200 for this current fiscal year. We're still waiting to know if we're going to be granted. So although this coming fiscal year, there might not be new allocations for new staff, as any other city department, we're also short in staff. As Ms. Fonseca explained last time, I'm grateful for the slight increase in this year's budget. I didn't include the amounts that were provided to you on last proposed budget meeting that we had. One of the positions that I've requested is a children's services coordinator, because most of the programs that we provide are done by staff, and also through some partnerships with the Imperial County Office of Education or the Imperial County Free Library. They bring their staff, we provide the facility, so that's an additional program that we provide to the community. So if there are no increases, I hope there's no decreases to our budget. And if the budget is approved as proposed, we might be able to work on some of the department needs, which are mostly, lighting issues and alarm issues and stuff like that. So thank you. And that is all for my presentation.
Do you have any questions?
I do.
Okay. Go ahead.
You wanna go? Okay, real quick. So the Carnegie Library, it's over 100 years old, and we spend a lot of money. Well, we didn't, but a great deal of money was spent to renovate that. And I know you have here an alarm system, and you have the AC system. I think we voted on the replacement of the AC systems. So it's been, how long has it been? What's wrong?
The Carnegie Library has 5 air conditioning units. We were able to replace 3 of them for the downstairs area. The 2 ones from the upstairs area have not been able to replace, or more costly. But we were going to be working on finding ways to replace them.
So you need more money?
Yes.
You need 2 more replacement, or how many?
2 more air conditioning. So those are I believe each one is like 10 tons each.
Okay. And did we vote on that to replace them? No?
No.
Just not those? Okay. What about the your library parking lot? The resurfaces? I
That's
get a
in
lot
it.
of calls from that.
That's in the works. We had some issues with remember, the restrooms were reconstructed, and then we had some issues with the sewer system, so recently those issues were finally fixed, but there's some other sewer issues in the parking lot area, so Ms. Falomir, we're going to work on addressing that issue first, and then working on the
Oh,
payment.
okay. And do we have timelines for those?
Timelines?
No?
That would be
Like within the next 6 months, a year, 2 months, something? No? Okay.
6 months, yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Public comment.
Raúl Ureña.
Muy buenas tardes, requesting 88 time of 4.5 minutes. Muy rapidito en inglés y en español, in English and Spanish. A previous speaker had mentioned that the audit did not exist. Well, the audit is right here. It can be found on information.auditor.ca.gov. Yo nunca digo nada sin tener el papel en mano. Es el reporte número del auditor del Estado. Número 2021-805, Audit Report 2021-805. And one of the things that it says about the high-risk issues to Calexico is the city lacks a robust, accessible budget process. La ciudad de Calexico carece un proceso robusto y accesible de presupuesto, y el Estado recomienda, para corregir eso, que los presupuestos se presenten en inglés y español. Imagínense, aquí con la biblioteca tenemos un programa que les enseña a jóvenes y adultos a aprender del español al inglés. Imagínate decirle a esos calesianos, te queremos mucho, ahí te va tu programa, pero no vengas al cabildo porque aquí no hay presupuestos en tu idioma. Aquí las decisiones se hacen sin ti. Pues, ¿qué crees? El Estado sí tuvo una opinión sobre eso. Y dice, la ciudad de Calexico en el reporte 2021-805, la ciudad de Calexico carece un proceso accesible y robusto para su comunidad de presupuesto. Mr. Mayor, if I may, this audit has to do with the whole budget process. And if you're going to silence me, this is also going to go into a First Amendment lawsuit because I am on topic. So if you would like to, if you would like to make, if you would like to.
Excuse me, I'm not. You know,
you're silencing me, and I'm trying to talk about the budget, sir. Entonces déjame hablar. Déjame hablar. Déjame hablar. Es mi tiempo, señor alcalde, es mi tiempo. Is there a point of order? Are you going to make it official? Make it official so we can sue.
Come on, we're not going to do a circus.
Okay, pues déjame hablar. Déjame hablar.
Stick to the points. If
Okay.
not, you're not going to speak.
I'm not going to speak?
If you don't stick to the points.
Oh, make it official so I can sue the city. Make it official.
If you don't stick to the points.
En el presupuesto 2021-805 dice que la ciudad de Calexico carece un proceso robusto y accesible para que sus ciudadanos interpreten el presupuesto. Y este es un ejemplo que otra vez estamos hablando de servicios para hispanohablantes y no tenemos la decencia de presentarlo en español. Es una falta de respeto, va en contra de las recomendaciones del Estado, y es por eso porque pienso que no hay nadie de la comunidad aquí. ¿Cómo vamos a resolver estos problemas si no tenemos la decencia de seguir los lineamientos del Estado y poner las cosas en español? Más en parte una pregunta legal para la ciudad. ¿cómo lo hacemos cuando un regidor es esposo de la directora? Él puede legalmente opinar y votar sobre su presupuesto. Se me hace como que es un conflicto de interés que quisiera que se explorara también. Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Maritza Hurtado.
Maritza Hurtado, business owner in downtown Calexico. I'm going to stick to the subject, which is our library. Y voy a hablar en español para hacerles el favor aquí al que se está quejando. Nuestra biblioteca en Calexico, lo que no se habló ahorita fue lo que da el servicio hacia lo que es las personas sin hogar. Ahorita estamos ya llegando a julio, ya está haciendo bastante calor. Entonces la biblioteca también sirve esa necesidad, que hay que todos ya saber eso, ¿verdad? De que desde hace mucho tiempo atrás, en cada año, los municipios y el condado de Imperial y las organizaciones que se encargan de las personas sin hogar se están planeando estos veranos y la protección y el apoyo hacia ellos. El año pasado nosotros aquí iniciamos un recall en contra de Raúl, porque Raúl y sus seguidores usaron mucho el dinero de ARPA, que es otro fondo. Insistieron en usar ese dinero, que su propósito de ese dinero no era lo que ellos buscaban. Por eso es que nosotros estábamos muy molestos con la manipulación de estos presupuestos. Lo que nosotros yo creo que queremos saber es de que el año pasado se insistió que se ignorara que Calexico tenía estos servicios, que nosotros ya teníamos vamos a decir, albergue en la biblioteca, y más bien lo que queríamos era entonces incrementar. Fue cuando empezaron a hablar de programas donde iba a haber jeringas limpias, y pues mucha gente se molestó, pero nunca supimos que si siempre se usó ese dinero o no, porque nos acordamos, ¿verdad?, de que habían reservado 50,000 del presupuesto del año pasado. Entonces yo creo que lo que queremos es simplemente aclarar que ese servicio hacia las personas sin hogar ya existe en la ciudad de Calexico, y la necesidad de seguir agregando con los impuestos de nosotros los ciudadanos pues ya es de más. Eso ya le toca a las organizaciones no lucrativas.
Mr. Hurtado, so you can bring it back to the presentation of the
Sí,
library.
perdón.
Thank
Y
you.
eso sería lo que quisiéramos nosotros entender, que con esa necesidad de esta biblioteca, ¿verdad? No se habló ahorita sobre los personas sin hogar y ese servicio, para poder evitar eso lo que pasó el año pasado, donde estábamos tratando de buscar otro dinero durante el mes de agosto.
Just,
Thank you.
if I may, the library has always been a cooling center, and it continues to be every year.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Maria Alex Ocampo.
Buenas tardes, qué vergüenza porque está todo muy tenso aquí. Mi nombre es Mario Campo, primera vez que vengo, Eliseth me comentó. Ay, estoy nerviosa, perdón. Se siente mucha tensión porque están hablando de cosas como con todo respeto y con todo respeto, entonces me siento nerviosa. No estoy a favor de nadie ni en contra, estoy aquí para Calexico, no quiero estar grosera con nadie. Ay, qué nervios, perdón. Es que se siente bien feo ahorita, como pasaban dos personas y están hablando así como atacándose. Y no, por favor, no, solo venimos a hablar de nuestra biblioteca. Vengo a hablar en nombre de apoyar a nuestra bibliotecaria, Lisette. Muchas gracias. Sí, tienen programas muy suaves, hablo como mamá. Y sí agradecería que hablaran español, porque, perdón, y no encuentro de usted, perdón, pero hay cositas que no entiendo. Y es la primera vez que vengo porque nunca había puesto atención, no se me valía tal vez. Y hay cosas que dije yo, wow, a la madre, como no se ve que pasaba eso, como con el dinero. Entonces sí me gustaría o agradecería que tuviera un traductor, porque hablo inglés, pero me trago en ciertos términos. Pero bueno, ese era un punto sobre el traductor. Sobre la biblioteca, me encanta la biblioteca, la amo Lisette. No me está pagando nadie, ni acá, ni acá. Vengo porque, en serio, amo la biblioteca, soy mamá de 2 niños, mi hijo tiene autismo, Be Kind, autismo, awareness, y mi hijo se ha beneficiado, un chingo de los programas de nuestra biblioteca, y todos son muy amables, me encanta. Sí está muy caliente, la verdad, mi hijo pues tiene autismo muy mild, que es muy leve, pero yo lo quiero empujar a llevarlo. Ustedes saben, como papás tenemos que empujar a nuestros hijos porque los hijos no hacen caso. Entonces, sí, era como súper suave que nos apoyaran con la refrigeración porque está horrible. Y mi hijo se divierte, pero suda mucho y, sensory stuff es muy como difícil. Hasta para uno como papá, dice, tengo que ir a la biblioteca. Me encanta, pero no me gusta sudar. Entonces, vengo a apoyar aquí a Lice, o no sé cómo sea esto en primera vez, no sé qué tengo que hacer, pero, por favor, déjese sentir como incómodo los pedradones, y pues como pues calesianos, amamos Calexico, yo amo Calexico, que no tengamos Chick-fil-A, pero, traigan Chick-fil-A, por favor, apúntalo ahí, pero amo Calexico, me encanta. No, lo escuché en Facebook, pero muchas gracias y espero que sea un poquito más tranquilo todo porque sí me pongo muy nerviosa. Y Calexico, gracias.
Gracias.
Lizeth,
Bring it back to the council.
I want to say to the library team, the library is an amazing place. Our library is awesome, and there's so many things for our children to do there. And I hope that in the next few days, staff can find the money for the AC units. Please find it. That's my ask. Please find the money, please.
Thank you. And thank you for the presentation. Now we go to item number 4. Presentation by Police Chief Orozco on the Calexico Police Department proposed budget for fiscal year July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025.
Good afternoon, City Council, ladies and gentlemen of the public. My name is Armando Orozco. I'm the Chief of Police of the Calexico Police Department. This is going to be the presentation for the 2024-2025 budget. I try to do it a little bit differently. I try to make it a little bit more for the layperson to be able to understand. Currently, we've been approved, we're at 19 sworn officers, and we've been approved one more officer to make a total of 20. So the reason I'm more aiming this presentation is to give the council and the public an idea of what we do and what the expectations are of the police department and how much we're doing with what we have. So the very first question we always get is, what's the public's expectation of the police department? And they want full service as well as they deserve. They deserve that when they get a phone call that they get answered respectfully and they're given options or given information, and that a police officer is dispatched as soon as possible to handle whatever their needs. This being said, we have very many limitations. When I get asked, why does it take so long for an officer to respond, it usually has to do with staffing levels. And we're very well aware of the budget. We know what our limitations are, but I kind of wanted to bring it to light to the public so that way they understand and they see what we're doing. So this graph states our population of 40,327. We have a total now for this new fiscal year of 20 officers. We're currently at 19. Total civilians of 12, which makes a total employees of 31. So a lot of times we talk about officer per 1,000 citizens, and we're at 0.50. So nationally, police departments aim to go 1.5 officers for every 1,000 residents. So if you look at it at the far right, you're seeing similar populations with 40,317. Their total officers are 67. Total civilians are 32. Total employees are at 98 with a officer to per 1,000 ratio of 1.65. And if you look at the top, it might be a little bit hard to read. It talks about how the Calexico Police Department has 21% of officers per capita in the state average, 21% of officers per capita in the national average, and 30% of officers per capita for similarly sized cities in the country. So, and it states the recommended staffing should be between 67 and 93. That's what we should be at. And this is the funny slide, because I actually got this slide from the Defund the Police page. So of all people that would, say less officers, it would be these people. And Defund the Police says we need more police officers. Again, we understand that, budgets are the way they are, but I just kind of wanted to bring this to show you guys. So our command structure, as it is the chief of police. We have an executive secretary that does everything from filing claims, filing bills, keeps me on track with budget issues. Under me, we have an operations lieutenant that's currently not filled, and we have an administration lieutenant that's currently being deferred. That means that right now I have an administrative sergeant, and that's your command staff for the Calexico Police Department. Chief of Police and administrative sergeant. So we have 2 empty spots there. This is one half of your patrol teams right now. It's your team 3 and team 4. If it's highlighted in blue, as you can see, we're team 3 sergeant and team 4 sergeant. That means that they're acting sergeants. That means it's a senior officer that's acting in the capacity of a sergeant at this time. And if you see below those, you'll see patrol officers, and anything with a red little sign underneath that says vacant, obviously self-explanatory, it's vacant. So for your weekday shift team, day and night, you have right now currently an acting sergeant and 3 patrol officers with a vacant position. And at the night shift, 3 vacant officers with 1 vacant position. Your patrol division weekend day shift and night shift, you're staffed with 1 actual sergeant, and because that's an actual sergeant's position, we're staffing it with 2 patrol officers, and we have 2 vacant positions there. On the night shift, we have an acting sergeant, which is again a senior officer, and it's staffed by 2 officers, and we have 2 vacant positions. That being said, to fully staff your patrol teams for day and night shift, weekends and days, your sergeants, you're looking at 20 officers. And again, I don't know if you guys heard that key number 20, that is what we're allotted for the Calexico Police Department, 20 officers. So as it stands, the city of Calexico is divided into 4 beats. Each officer is assigned to a specific beat responsible for handling service calls within their designated areas. While officers typically patrol the entire city, their shift, Rio dispatch, directs calls related to the assigned beats. On a typical day, only 2 or 3 officers are on duty, along with a supervising officer who rotates the service calls. Currently, there are no investigators, no special assignments, 1 school resource officer, and 2 task force officers. So out of that 20 that we have tasked, 3 of them are already set aside to a task force and 1 to a school resource officer. That reduces your patrol team down to 17. Set aside that we have 2 personnel that are out for various reasons. Now you're down to 15. And so that's why I wanted to show you the graph before so you can see where the vacant spots are coming from. So as I said, that's basically what we talked about currently. We're budgeted for 19. With 1 extra, that'll be 20. So the answer to the question. So the answer to the question is, what kind of services are we expecting from citizens of Calexico? We still provide that service. We take investigations, we take reports, and we take it from the time we get dispatched to the time we take it to court. And our officers are very well dedicated, they're very well motivated, and we've gone through some very serious crimes and very serious cases, and we've taken it all the way. But could we do better? Absolutely. How can we do better? We need to fund those positions that we're needing. So, of course, this is a wish list. What do we need to get to the bare minimum? We're patrolling the way the citizens deserve and should be patrolling. We would have to request 6 additional officers to support rebuilding succession planning for the department's future. This would bring a total of 32 officers, achieving a ratio of 0.82 per 1,000. That would increase 4 officers per shift and 1 supervisor, 2 general investigations crime investigators, 2 school resource officers, which are super important because a lot of the calls we get is from the school, and if we could stop it at the schools, we stop it from spreading up when they become adults. 2 task force officers. What I mean by task force officers, business liaison officer. Task force officers are the ones that we have currently assigned. Special assignment officers are like the business liaison officer, different type of assignments that assist in the quality of life of Calexico. This enhancement will improve the time opportunity, rebuild, and reduce overtime, and allow for on-duty training sessions. We're also responsible for the animal control facility. Currently, projects that we're working on is to fix the perimeter fence, fix the cages, remodel the animal control office, purchase a 20-foot container for storage, increase the number of cages, and move temporary staffing to full-time. Currently, we have 2 positions for animal control, 1 full-time, and we just lost one this last fiscal year, and we're staffing it with a hunter's employee, and we would like to staff it with a full-time employee again. And then add retractable awnings to regulate the heat and cold for the animals. Currently, we have $50,000 budgeted for this fiscal year to start the repairs, and that's what we're going to be working on. Parking enforcement and meters, that's the big hot topic too in the city of Calexico. Currently, the traffic department has 1 supervisor, 1 full-time, 3 part-time positions, and 8 temporary part-time positions, also known as hunters employees. Generally, to run the traffic as we've seen, and it is getting worse, it takes about 12 employees to be able to manage traffic. We all see when there's no traffic controllers out there how bad traffic gets. And it's one of the reasons why we're working on doing the meters to help fund those positions. And what we would request is to have 1 supervisor, 1 full-time, 7 permanent part-time positions to include front counter clerk, and then have 4 temp employees that we would get from hunters during seasonal times like Christmas when the traffic flow gets elevated. This would ensure also that our employees are getting their deserved breaks, because being out here in the middle of the traffic, even for 20 minutes, is bad. And we need to do better for them and give them the breaks as they deserve, and we need to have the manpower levels to do this. Okay. Let me back up. Also, one thing I wanted to mention, since we're using hunters, we have a constant rotation of personnel. So every 5 months, we're looking for new personnel. It takes some time to get them trained up, get them up to speed, and then by the time they're ready to go, they run out of their hours, they start all over again, and we're looking for new employees. A lot of times we don't get some of the regular people back because there's no stability. Even if they were permanent part-time, they would stay with us, and we'd be able to do more for the public. We'd be able to patrol the streets. They'd be more sure of themselves as far as the law, as they're learning their job, as they're learning how to do and conduct business here in the city. And that is my presentation for you.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions? Comments?
First responders, so that's a good thing. And I know that you're working on the lieutenant spot, and I know that you can open up an acting lieutenant. That's pretty soon.
Yes, based on what my current staffing is, I can't afford to promote a lieutenant right now because I would take one from patrol, and until several officers come back from various time off, as soon as they come off and as soon as I do my sergeant's promotions, which is scheduled for the 27th of this month, I'll be able to move an officer's position to a sergeant's position and make another vacancy so I can fill that vacancy. We currently have 3 people in the process to get hired, so those 3 sergeant's positions should get filled up right away, so that way we have the sergeants that the public needs and we have the staffing to back it up afterwards. So we're not playing catch up right now. We're actually, as soon as we get those sergeants in, I'll be able to put an acting lieutenant in, and then we'll be able to hire the 3 officers that are right now applying to be reserves with us right now. It's something different that I've done is I'm trying to pick up reserves so that way we can start the process now, get them through the hiring, get them into as reserves, and then once the opening opens up and they're good employees, we can do a reclassification of that position and they're in immediately. So that way we're not playing catch up as far as hiring.
And you're also working on the license plate readers.
Yes, sir. That's a little bit more touchy because, as you know, Calexico is bisected by SR 98 and SR 111, which requires a permit through Caltrans, and permits through Caltrans take a little bit of time. Also, I'm trying to fund those LPRs through grants, so that way they'll never come out of the city's budget. I mean, obviously the initial cost to get them, but then the annual upkeep will be through various grants, so that way it won't cost the city anything.
Awesome. Also, I'm sure Lily's working on the parking lot within the next 6 months also for the for the police department.
We're right there with the library and the recreation department.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
Thank you for the presentation.
Any questions from the comments from the public?
Yes, Mr. June Kim.
Okay, I'll go short. The governments, the stating or how they made the governments, people gathering and they make a group to protecting each others. That's the starting of the governments. And what you mean is safety. Is any governments failing safety of the public, then they failed everything. You cannot stay there without the safety guarantee. We have a lot of issues right now. And in our traffic, all those matter, we supposed to have more than the 1.5 per each person. Because of our traffic is very big. And we supposed to know how to find the money to keep our safety. Even we have to spend, we cannot spend money on the park, but we have to have safety, we have to have safety first. Recreational is going to be another ones. So a lot of the people they issuing, they talking about the safety, talking about the gravity, and then we have a third street, right now, a lot of homeless there. Is again very simply our job, city government's job to find the money to make sure providing safety of our citizens and people who's involved in here. And the downtown is they're supposed to be having more traffic too. And again, a lot of people they're discouraging to call the police because they're not gonna come. When they come, they call them more than 30 minutes or hours. If the happening is gone. So, as we know, we need the number, at least the number. We have to have it. And I know that we have less people, so I believe that our city council members to find the money, bond for the guaranteed or providing the necessary safety for the people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Joseph Villa.
Okay. So the parking meters were added, or the changes were made right now, not too long ago, right? But I remember that we were getting new ones as well, and it was going to be paid with the changes, right? I just wanted, because there was a lot of talk online about what's going on and all this kind of stuff. There's more to this, right? So eventually when that is paid for, we don't have to keep it, right? I mean, eventually the council can say, okay, we'll bring it back to 30 minutes a quarter, and whenever they get paid. But I remember the idea was also to pay for more officers. So that's the kind of thing. It's like, well, is ICTC also going to be helping us, because there was a lot of things that were removed during that time, and would like to somehow work with someone so that way we can get trafficking, paid for again. I mean, this is something that is affecting the whole Imperial Valley, not just Calexico. So I don't know if you've heard anything, but it would be great to start to talk to them about this, because if the levels of officers are coming off of the same as the defund the police, I mean, that's very scary. That's what we were talking about a lot of the times, and for you guys, I want well, Legaspi used to be, right? But I want you guys to be prepared, right? I mean, you guys need the manpower, then go for it. We need to do something about it, whatever needs to be done. But I know that a lot of people were worried about the parking meters, and just giving them more information about when the new ones are coming, because that's also a source of money that we're not getting, right? That's what we wanted them, because they were going to allow us to charge with debit card. So that's another thing that we're not getting right now. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, if you allow me to answer that question.
Next speaker is Maritza.
Well, if you allow him to, he wants to address the question.
So I think it's important to give them the information about the meters. So right now we are in negotiation with Duncan Meters to get the meters put in. So originally Plan A was to not cause any kind of cost to the city, To do the new meters that were current, the meters that are being charged right now, it cost us $350 to get a machine to reprogram them, which initially they told us that we couldn't reprogram because they're from 2005. So they were able to find a machine, we reprogrammed them. So there's an ordinance in the city that says that the price for the meters are to pay for the traffic controllers, for equipment, things like that. So we're really just offsetting the cost that we're already paying for the meters. What's kind of holding us up right now is what type of mechanism we're going to use for the parking lots. Are we going to put meters in, or are we going to put an LPR that when you drive in, it gets your license plate, and then you pay for it electronically, and then when you drive out, it charges you automatically. So that's what we're trying to figure out, what's the best option for the city of Calexico. The meters, regardless of which way we go, we're going to do what's called not price sharing, but fund sharing or revenue sharing. So for every $40 ticket we give, $10 are going to go to the company to pay back the meters. It's a zero interest loan, so we're not paying any interest for it, but it's based on the revenue we do, not from the meters, because meters are for Calexico, but the citations that we give are to pay back the meters, yes.
We'll go after that public comment. Thank you, Chief.
Bueno, de nuevo, mi nombre es Marit Hurtado, soy dueña de un negocio en Downtown más de 38 años. Y este asunto sobre lo que son los parquímetros y lo que nos cuesta las infracciones siempre es algo problemático para muchas personas como yo, que dependemos de las personas querer llegar y ser consumidores ahí en Downtown. Fue bien difícil para mí leer mucho de lo que eran las opiniones públicas, de lo que piensa la gente, del aumento. Se lo mencioné a usted hace los 6 meses atrás cuando me mencionaste que ese era tu plan, que esos son algo bien difícil para una persona como yo, que vamos a tener que afrontar un verano muy difícil, y saber cómo vamos a poder atraer a personas cuando ya se están quejando solamente por ese costo. Creo que cuando tenemos estos tipos de planes de aumentos debemos de tomar en cuenta tu público y tus comerciantes, porque ahorita no sabemos qué vamos a hacer. Por ejemplo, cuando ya cerró el negocio de las donas, muchas personas vio eso también como muy problemático. Bueno, problemático de muchas diferentes maneras, pero también porque pues siguen diciendo que es un pueblo fantasma. Entonces, seguir aumentando, mi punto de vista es seguir aumentando el costo del estacionamiento para venir y visitar esta área que le hace falta tanto. Yo le pedí a usted que trabajáramos, y sé que mañana vamos a tener esta junta, y les quiero agradecer a todos ustedes que en mi negocio yo tengo clientes que son dueños de estos negocios, que quieren cooperar con la ciudad para que cuando nos cobren más dinero, como aquí que nos quieren cobrar más aumento, que valga la pena. Porque yo le dije a usted, ahorita todavía no vale la pena poder aumentar esos precios y que los consumidores vean que eso vale la pena llegar allí. So vamos a darle una promesa a toda la gente que han visto y han criticado ese aumento que estamos platicando ahorita, qué es lo que nos cuesta, que también tenemos el deseo y el plan de poder darles va a tardarse un ratito, pero un lugar sano para venir y hacer comercio en Downtown Calexico. Muchas gracias, con tu apoyo. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. If I could just bring it back, also to what we're doing here. We're just doing a workshop. We're doing presenting the budget, right? But I think now it's becoming more of a conversation on a specific issues. So let's just try to concentrate on this. Chief, thank you. I appreciate the explanation. Definitely, it's something that we have to bring back, because when this item was presented, it was to help offset some of the costs in policing, and maybe bringing more of officers, or at least another officer, a couple of more officers. So all of that. But I appreciate all the comments from the public and the staff, and we're going to continue unless someone else from the council has another comment. Thank you. So thank you, Chief. Item number 5, presentation by Acting City Manager Contreras of the Development Services Department. Proposed budget for fiscal year July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025.
Good evening, Council, members of the public, city staff. I'll be here presenting for Mr. Barba that is out of the country on vacation, so I'll be going over his department for So overseeing the department composition of the planning department, as you can see, there's 3 divisions within the development services department, consisting of a building division, planning division, and code enforcement. Currently have a planning director at the moment with 1 building official, 1 permit technician, 2 code enforcement officers, I'm sorry, I take that back, 1 code enforcement officer at the moment, and an admin assistant. The planning division reviews all residential, commercial, and industrial development proposals made by the developers to the city of Calexico with the main goal of ensuring compliance with established policies in the general and specific plan zones, zoning ordinance, state laws, and local ordinances adopted by the city council. It processes all requests and annexation, rezoning, and land use entitlements such as conditional use permits, subdivisions, maps, commercial, and industrial site plans. The division coordinates recommendations from all other city departments, utility companies, and other stakeholders and interested parties, while also providing advisory support to the City of Calexico Planning Commission and the City Council. As Mr. Barba stated, his planning division has proposed adopted budget for 23-24 compared to his 24-25. You do see a slight increase of postage due to public hearings, permit reviews, which have grown over the past year. There's also an obviously increase in utilities from 2,835 to 5,900, also due to the excess expenditures from originally budgeted amount. So you can see there's obviously a few costs that have increased from office equipment, professional services, advertising that's gone up over the past year, and software uses and licenses that covers the permitting license or code enforcement, documentation, and so on. So the building division. The building division is responsible for the implementation of the various building codes, health and safety codes, and codes related to the proper construction practices. Duties include reviewing the construction plans, issuance of permits, and daily site inspections. The building division coordinates with the planning division to provide direct assistance to the public and to ensure the property development reviews process is fulfilled. The division works closely with other city departments, state, and local agencies. Code enforcement is an administration within the building division. Code enforcement personnel further enforce the sign code, construction codes, building license codes, abandoned and inoperable vehicle codes, abatement of property nuisance. Code enforcement further works with citizens, business owners, and other community stakeholders to achieve the voluntary compliance to promote and attract communities, improve the living conditions for everyone, and protect the health, safety, and welfare of the city of Calexico. As you see here in the building division, from 23-24 to 25-26, again, the vehicle parts and equipment have gone up. Talking to Mr. Barbara and having a brief before he took his vacation, we sat down and had about an hour conversation on all these items, which the increase of vehicle parts is pretty much late model vehicles that are currently being used by the planning division. I think it's more cost of maintenance to keep them up than purchasing new vehicles. Obviously, the vehicles, fuel and oil have gone up as well. Computer supplies, constant documentation that goes through that department. The computer supplies have gone up. Office supplies as well. Utility payments has also increased. Cleaning supplies for the department. One major area where costs did go up, and Mr. Vado was, wanted me to push this issue is professional services and the office equipment and maintenance. So he was requesting a plotter, a bigger size plotter to be able to have documents, plannings come in, scan them, put them in a document type form, computer based, so that way they can free up some of their storage that's pretty bad in that department. So Ms. Fonseca has that on the other agenda, the one-time capital purchase for the planning department is a plotter for $18,000. So Mr. Barba will be getting his plotter hopefully this upcoming fiscal year. Also, he's also recommending to update their IT software services to make code enforcement online, to go out there and have a tablet and do everything online, document everything, put everything electronically instead of going, they're still doing paper to paper. So he did recommend to go online and use that service, which obviously there's an increase there from the 525 to the 20,000. And the requested amount, he specifically stated here, amount will be utilized to purchase permitting and code enforcement software necessary to streamline code violations, building permit processing. The department currently relies on hard copies and in-person submittal, which the department is currently struggling to keep track of. Methods have resulted in numerous delays to timely processing of permits, applications, and follow-up citations. The implementation of new software will help the short-staffed department keep track of all permits, code violations, while streamlining the review process. And I think that's one of the areas where our Chick-fil-A is at. So they had a question about that. Unfortunately, Mr. Barber is not here to answer any of your department or his planning department questions, but I'm sure you guys have a bunch of them for him when he gets back.
Thank you. Questions, comments from the, just one suggestion, City Manager. If we can just, what I would like to have, I know we have a list of things here and the potential costs also, but I know that, we need to start, digitalizing this type of, processes and to expedite and to, even just being able to offer these services online. I know that costs, but, any investment that is made, and all the departments need, to get up to speed, and I think, to the point of Ms. Gerardo's earliest presentation, that change that she did, on the electronic, form of payment or subscription to the services, she has seen an increase in response from people, in the collection of, fees and just revenues maybe coming in. So I think, this is one of the departments also, and everybody for that matter, police, fire, they can all use this type of system, whether it's to collect, whether it's the fines, fire, and planning where people come for permits, and we can expedite and we can streamline the processes. I think that will be a great step, and that's something that, we always think about how can we generate revenue, but if we're still doing paper, I mean, it's like, generating reams and reams of paper and passing them around. So I think, an investment made into this type of, that we can make into this type of processes and systems, that would be great. So what I would like to see is really a breakdown of some of the processes that we can digitalize and go, just with the times, honestly. And I know we always talk about lack of funds, but we need to invest some of the funds that we might have in other areas into this type of process, into this type of streamlining. So maybe next time when you bring this, even for the budget approval, if you can just bring a list of things, list of opportunities that I will call to expedite these processes through technology. Thank you. Any questions? Any more questions from council? If not, public comment?
Yes, Leticia Cota.
Leticia Aldana Cota, 417 Rosemont. I just would like to make two comments, because I think I already mentioned the code enforcement issue. And yes, I like the idea of what was just presented, because that's going to avoid the errors, and also it's going to expedite, and also will bring more revenues, hopefully in the long run. But I just wanted to clarify something. There was something said earlier about the comments that were being said, that we were diminishing the work of, or that the comments were diminishing the work of your people here that have presented. I just want to let you know that actually my comments were not meant for demeaning them, because I applaud them because they do what they do with what little they get. The other thing is that, Mr. Mayor, please, I would truly appreciate it, that in the future, I know that you have the gavel, you can silence people when they're being rude, and you silence them when they are, or tell them, stay on topic, when they sway out of topic. So please also do that to the public, because unfortunately, some people are very rude and disrespectful. I don't know what their upbringing was, but there should be no call for that. So in the future, please, I would truly appreciate it if you would also silence those people that are being disrespectful to others in this setup. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you. Thank you, CM. So now we'll go to the next presentation, which is number 6, presentation by Acting City Manager Contreras on the Administration Department, proposed budget for fiscal year July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025.
So just on this presentation really quick, formality-wise, while I was getting information, putting these budget workshops together, I probably could have done a better job of putting this one together as far as providing numbers and whatnot. There was a few numbers at the end, but per information and turnover this past week and a half, City Manager's Office has no proposed budget for fiscal 24-25. 3 positions that have been added have been deferred. So this is pretty much an overview of department services. So the So just a quick overview on admin, city manager's office, consisting of city clerk and human resources. The mission of the administration department is to carry out the policy of the council, manage the day-to-day operations of the city within its policies, parameters, and budgets established by the council, ensure municipal services are delivered efficiently and to the public, and protect the health, safety, and welfare of the residents. So the city manager's office coordinates the activities of the city departments to ensure that the policies of the city council are implemented efficiently and effectively, and the city services are delivered in accordance with the highest standards of excellence within the parameters set by the city council. The city manager is the chief executive officer of the city and manages the day-to-day operations. She or he implements the city's council's strategic plan, directs administrative operations, appoints department heads, prepares and submits proposed balanced budgets to the city council, and advises the governing board on the policies, matters impacting the community. It's just an over description of the city manager's roles and responsibilities. So the city clerk, just to continue on, the city clerk is appointed by the city manager and is ratified by the city council. The city clerk worked under the direction of the city manager. The city clerk is the custodian and is responsible for security and all officials, city records, documentations, publications of the city, including city council minutes, ordinances, resolutions, contracts, agreements, leases, deeds, easements, and other official records of the city. Moving on to the Human Resource Department. The Human Resource Department office provides the full range of personal functions, including recruitment, selection, classification, compensation, labor relations, employee leave, and training development, with a dedicated focus on hiring, training, and retaining high-quality personnel. Staff administers the city's work compensation programs, short-term disability programs, long-term disability programs, so on and so forth. Economic development. The Economic Development Department that falls under the city manager was dissolved within the closing of the 22-23 fiscal year. The city manager office is now tasked with the most essential functions of economic development. The city manager's office, in conjunction with the planning department, will become a one-stop shop liaison for the current business and potential investors. So, continuing with what's currently up on the screen, the city manager department, along with human resource department and city clerk, did not have a proposed budget for fiscal 24-25. What previous administration did have was a list of 3 positions that were deferred. As you see the summary of deferred paperwork that Ms. Fonseca left on your. So 3 positions that were requested were the part-time office assistant for the Human Resources Department. This is a part-time assistant to help oversee hiring, answering phones, filing paperwork, so on and so forth, because there is a lot of work that gets done in that office. Another position that the city manager requested was a city manager analyst to help with grants, prepare technical reports, requests for proposals, and other such things. One other position that she had requested also was for the city clerk's office, was a records specialist. That is much needed because a lot of records are requested on a day-to-day basis, and that staff is short as well. But all 3 of these positions have been deferred until further. There will be, obviously, there's pending positions that are going to open up eventually pretty soon that might have to go elsewhere and hire those 3 other positions first.
Thank you. So any questions from the council? Comments? No. City manager, also going back to technology and software, I know that in years past we have been talking about also looking into purchasing some software, especially for the public records requests, you know, in some of the processes again that take place, you know, at that office. And I know that, you know, lately there has been a lot of requests for that type of information. And I know that that ties down a lot of people, you know, trying to search and trying to organize records and trying to respond in a timely manner, not just because that's the job, but then because that's the law too. So if we can just also have, you know, some, you know, information on that, you know, maybe even and this is something that I will touch on later on, but if we can just start looking into, you know, technology, into, you know, streamlining through use of technology, I think that's a great investment. I know we're asking for a lot of things, you know, we're hearing ask, you know, for a lot of things, staffing, and but I think we need to be looking into technology. How can we expedite? How can we respond? How can we, you know, modernize our processes? Because, I mean, we keep on going year after year after year, and we make little investment in that. But if you can coordinate maybe with the city clerk and see what would be also some of the needs from there, some of the specific on technology. Because that is also something that the public, we hear, you know, constantly that, you know, they don't get their responses on time. And this is part of it, you know, where we're really behind on the processes. We're still working with paper. We're still got to go and pull, you know, information from storage and trying to get all this, you know, answers to you. But this is the reason. So anyway, my comment, do we have any public comments?
Yes, Leticia Cota.
Leticia Aldana Cota. I just have a question. I'm sorry. I believe I heard the acting city manager say this is what she recommended, the past city manager did not have, but she's no longer here. And he was appointed, what, how long ago? He should have had his own proposal or his own presentation to do. I'm sorry. But that's what I heard. That's what she wanted, and this is what she said, or this is what she was requesting. He's the acting city manager. He should have had his own presentation and his own request. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you. We'll go to item number 7, presentation by acting city manager, acting city fire chief Contreras on the fire department proposed budget for fiscal year July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025.
So for the fire department, 24-25, again, just another formality. This is just a department description. It's going to give you updates on fire station number 1, fire station number 2. As per the summary of deferred general funding program budget request that Ms. Fonseca has provided, there is no budget request for the fire department. Why do you say that? Because 10 of the items that have been requested for the past 2 or 3 years have already been approved. If you see their fire, there's 10 items that I believe Chief Avila back in 21-22, 22-23 had requested for fire apparatus, 1 new fire engine, 1, 2, 3 utility vehicles that have been much needed for the past few years, computers for the new fire station, an ESO contract that automates the CAD system for automated dispatching, fire hose, new fire hose, an air conditioner for station number, the courthouse, heart saver alert system that the city was so graciously on and paying the installation for fire station number 1, as well as EOC training and EOC front room office security. So those are one of the reasons no budget was requested other than filling the vacant positions and staff due to retirement. We have another captain that's pretty going to retire next week, a few firemen that are potentially on a list for another department, so we're losing personnel. But just going over the department's mission, the mission of the Calexico Fire Department is to protect the lives and the property of the residents, visitors, and business owners of the city of Calexico. This is accomplished by providing fire protection, suppression services, pre-hospital emergency medical services, fire education and prevention services, hazardous materials response services. Together we pledge to provide the effective and efficient services in a courteous and respectful manner to improve the quality of life for all and in the unique border community. So the Calexico Fire Department protects the health and safety of the welfare of residents, visitors, and businesses owners by responding to fires, vehicle accidents, hazardous material spills, medical emergencies, and other incidents requiring the immediate action to prevent or reduce loss of life. The fire department responds to over 5,000 calls in just previous last year, 2023. And there you can see current picture of fire station number 1, and this is in the heart of the city, located at 415 East 4th. Fire station number 1 is the busiest station in Calexico, logging over 5,000 calls in 2023, and I'm saying logging in because we're one combined fire station right now, right? We have station 1 and station 2 all together. The average response time to incidents in this district was 5 minutes and 33 seconds. The station normally staffs a minimum of 7 personnel. And I want to say 7 because 2 of the other personnel are on an overtime basis, so up to 9, if staffing permits and staffing is available. Due to the renovation of fire station number 2, the number increases to 9 or 10 depending on the availability of our staff. Engine 11, which is the frontline engine out of station 1, is a 3-engine company, meaning you have 1 firefighter, one captain, one engineer. We have 2 ambulances that's staffed with 1 paramedic and 1 EMT on both ambulances. And also available at the station is currently 1 reserve engine, which is a little brush truck that we have. Our prevention officer is also there, an inspector Villa, and our new admin assistant Inez Kelly. Fire station number 2. Fire station number 2 located on West Grant Street. Fire station number 2 is currently under the renovation and should have an estimated completion date of October 31st, 2024. Station 2 protects the west side of the city. Station 2 houses 3 personnel, 1 captain, 1 engineer, and 1 firefighter. Company when resources permit, not all the time. So if we have a minimum of staffing of 9, you're going to run station number 2 with only 2 firemen, 1 captain and 1 engineer. Super unacceptable. The average response time is 4 minutes and 45 seconds with fire station number 2. And I'm sure the picture didn't pop up. There you go. So as you can see, there is work being done at fire station number 2. That's the trenching that was done for the plumbing and sewer lines. That's, I believe it has already been covered up. But there is extensive work being done at fire station number 2. Just a little quick update. Again, there's more work there. All the walls are down and whatnot. And then, again, it's a trench for the sewer lines. So out of the fire station here at number 1, we have the fire prevention that is aimed to decrease the number and severity of fires within the city of Calexico. The fire department accomplishes this goal through public education programs, regular fire prevention inspections, code enforcement, vegetation management and abatement, and enforcement. When fires do occur, a fire investigation is conducted to determine the origin and cause of the fire. The brand new ambulance, 2675. And then 2670. So the City of Calexico Fire Department provides comprehensive emergency medical services both within the city limits and in some cases beyond. This program combines the first responder paramedic engine, truck company, and 2 advanced ALS paramedic units operating out of 2 fire stations. This setup ensures that advanced life support reaches patients as quickly as possible, meaning regardless of the ambulances being in town or not, every fire engine is going to have a paramedic on there. There will always be advanced life support within if the ambulances are here in town or not. Each ambulance is staffed by a team consisting of 1 firefighter, 1 paramedic, and 1 firefighter emergency medical technician. Each engine and truck companies are technically staffed by a minimum of crew of 3 personnel, resources again permitting. If the staffing is available, we have minimum 3 personnel on engine 11, station 1. If permitting allows, 3 on station 2. If not, we run with 2 guys on 1 engine. These units respond to a wide variety of emergencies and first responders taking initial actions upon arrival. During an emergency medical call, firefighter paramedics on duty can quickly begin advanced medical life support aided by other crew members at the scene. This coordinated effort ensures that the patients receive prompt and effective medical care. Meaning if the ambulances are out of town and they're coming in from City of El Centro or Brawley, the units that are already there on scene at the medical aid are paramedics and providing ALS, and you just do the transfer of care once our ambulances show up, or in some cases, AMR. So the department funding, where do we get our funds from? So funding comes from Proposition 172, which is a special revenue fund that was created back in 1993. This is the revenue from this tax is allocated from each county based on their proportionate shares of statewide taxable sales and dispersed each month by the state controller. Each county is required to deposit the revenue in a public safety augmentation fund from which is allocated by the county auditor controller to the county and its cities. Enabling legislation SB 509. Another source of revenues that we get is Measure H. We all know Measure H has been was enacted on March 2nd, 2010. The City of Calexico Ordinance number 1111 authorized by a vote of the people to increase the sales tax by half cent for 20 years for general government purposes. The Oversight Committee oversees the recommends and reports to the City Council on the expenditures of the proceeds of the tax created by the ordinance. Year after year, I think the fire department has received $400,000 from Measure H and continues to do so. Again, on my part, I could have added this 10-item budget. It would have looked very nice and clear for the public to understand why the fire department did not add proposed 24-25 budget. It's because these 10 items that are listed here from Ms. Fonseca have been granted to the fire department, much needed items. So the overall goals, right? The overall goals and objectives of the performance and management. It's obviously to continue to fill the vacant positions that we're currently losing, currently lost due to new employment or retirement. Also, the consideration of an alternate public safety service delivery method, which Chief Lancer introduced to the Imperial County Board of Supervisors. Every time those fire engines don't go on a medical aid or any service call, we get no fees. And they proposed a $250 fee every time their engines go out, which can generate half of their calls. We probably double in call volume that they do, and they're projected to make $1 to $2 million on just those fees alone. So if we were to do a study and do a fee study on AMA fees, assessment fees, anytime the fire truck goes out, that's additional revenue that can be brought to the fire department for staffing or for equipment or for whatever else they may need. One of the big things we have right now is that we're so short-staffed is that workman's comp has gone up. So if you do which they call a 4-0 staffing, you have 4 guys on the fire truck on both stations. Even if those ambulances are gone, you have the minimum personnel to stay in the city and to be able to provide those services for the public, right? So conduct an objective analysis and full cost to incur by the city for various activities for which the department charges user fees. To ensure the accuracy and establish a clear nexus between the cost of those services and the fees, a study should be utilized. A unit cost build-up methodology to identify the full cost of individual fee activities based on staff and associated direct and indirect cost. Another goal for the department is develop and implement a fire department. Obviously, we need to update our SOPs and SOGs. Long time coming. We do have a draft folder at the fire station that we need to bring to council and we can put in play. Obviously, creating a training program for professional firefighters, develop and implement a fire department standard operating procedure manual, develop and implement employee succession plans, standards and guidelines for promotion expectations, which I'm currently working on and hope to have to council by next meeting. Also seek federal and state grants for the fire prevention, fire operations, and fire equipment. I'm sure you guys have heard of Josh Paddock. He comes up here and he does a lot of grant stuff. We put in a grant for safer grant for personnel. We're waiting maybe this month, next month to hear back from FEMA regarding that grant to be able to allow us to hire 4 additional firefighters. And that's pretty much what I got for the fire department.
Comments from the council, questions?
Have a couple.
We have 2 personnel waiting to get a start date.
Okay. You know how long that's going to take?
One had to put his 2 weeks in to his current employer, and the other one just is waiting. We do need to move some personnel at the fire station to free up those positions. That's kind of what we're working on right now. I know on Monday there's an engineer exam for a promotional exam. So once these people are moved up to the captain position and firefighter engineer position, we can free those bottom positions up to bring more personnel. But then you got to keep in mind, we have 1 full-time captain, 2 acting captains, 3 engineers that are acting as captains. So it's just, there's a mix of personnel on a given day from acting to captain to stepping down or whatever it may be. We just, like Oscar Pesquera always says, we always make it work, right?
Right.
And that's kind of where we're at right now.
Also, just to confirm, the city of Calexico is the only city that does not charge when the ambulance services are responding and they're AMA
The ambulance
in Calexico, right? Is the only one?
yeah, there is no AMA fee. We have no against medical advice
In
fee.
other cities and the counties, they do.
They all do.
And also, your time lapse in the city of El Centro. I understand that when you transport someone to the city of El Centro hospital, how long does the paramedics
It's usually an hour
stuck there?
it's usually an hour turnaround from time of call to transport to on scene, and that's depending how busy the hospital is. One thing the hospital has going on, it's called wall time, right? They're waiting in the hallways in the ER, waiting for a bed to open up, which has lasted over 2 hours. So what we do as what the fire department does is they place the hospital on APOD. So APOD meaning they call the charge nurse and they make the ambulances a priority to have these people taken off their gurneys so they can come back to their designated areas of operation, right? And we do that more oftentimes than not. So it's 1 hour turnaround on a normal call, and if it's longer than that, it could be an hour or two, depending if they go to Brawley or not.
Okay.
So you referenced here the summary of deferred general fund program budget request, this document right here. Could you tell us more about the EOC/training room? What is that ask for?
The emergency operating training room is a training room in the courthouse. So now that we have this, before it was our living area, so now that we have this big old area, which can be used as a conference training room, one of the areas that we want to do as personnel here is some of the personnel in the department are state certified instructors, right? Which can hold a number of variety of classes depending on how many courses they've taken, right? So if we're able to use that room as an EOC, emergency operations center, and create phone lines and whatnot and make it a training center, conference room, we're able to generate classes to come down, generate revenue for the city. If there's a big event, say the 2010 earthquake or any other event, we move away from, I understand Chief Orozco's, the police training room used to be a little EOC. Now you move that over to an operational area where it's bigger. You can invite more agencies to come in and participate, SoCal Gas, Public Works, IID, and they all would have their own little area to function, even Cal OES.
How many cities in the valley have that?
I would say all of them.
Yeah.
But us, or we have?
Well, we have one, but it's multi-use with PED's training room.
Okay.
Well, the training room is still an EOC, right?
How big is it?
How big is the training room?
Mm-hmm.
20 by 20.
And how big is the proposed training room that you
The
guys
courthouse, it's maybe the size of this room.
have? Okay.
So those are ideas, right? Those are ideas, and obviously the training to generate more.
I like
help
those
for the-
ideas. They're
yeah.
important to have, especially in natural disasters, earthquakes, anything that
Yes.
can happen here.
Yes, which was proposed in the past, I believe, Cal OES, because now that we freed up the courthouse, which has one captain office, a few open offices, I believe Cal OES wanted to come down and have an office in our facility to provide any support or whatnot from them going back and forth to Riverside or Region 6 or whatever it is. They wanted to have an office here in the city. It's just opening up that space and allowing them to come in.
Question, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Out of all the calls that you get, how many are resulting in AMAs? A percentage or a number?
Say 900 to 1,000 calls a year.
And those are usually, well, we
And
don't
those are
charge.
free calls because we respond to the say a low blood sugar. So we respond to a low blood sugar. There's a patient has a low blood sugar. We treat the patient with an IV, dextrose. We use all our equipment. We provide the medication. We increase her blood sugar levels to normal. She comes out of it. She's normal. She's fine. She doesn't want to go. She signs the AMA, we call base hospital, we confirm everything's good. We go back home and nothing's charged. So we're using equipment that's not getting reimbursed.
Wow. In the meantime, you're tying up also resources. I know you're responding to that, and that points to another issue that we have, a lack of medical facilities, right? But definitely, I would like to see a study, that the one that you have been mentioned. More on these AMAs, and see how we can maybe just work on that also, because when they respond to this, I know some of them are just repeats, that
Yes.
they just want some assistance, right? But we need to work with our local medical facilities too, because we can be saving and they can feel in that need. But something to look into, and something that, we can even save some funds, or maybe, we impose a fee.
Yes.
Maybe that can be some revenue, because we're tying our resources, we're using resources, and we're not getting any money is being recuperated from that.
No.
So, but thank you. Any other questions, comments?
You have a pub-
Yep. If you can just come up, please.
I was just thinking as you were speaking and as you guys were making your questions, will it be possible to set up some kind of, fee recovery, either from Medi-Cal or from the insurances of the people that are being assisted, that are not being charged currently? I'm just trying to figure out
Well, yeah,
as to how
but
it could be.
and thank you for
how
the
it could
feedback.
result in the city receiving some kind of a payment for that service. Maybe the individual may not be able to, but if that individual is covered by Medi-Cal or by a PPO or an HMO, I don't know if there's something that he could look into that, or
Our local billing company that we currently use has provided numbers
that they could bill.
as a guesstimate, just see how much we could generate depending on Medicare, Medi-Cal, and whatnot.
Yeah, because,
So, thank you. But again, this points to the need of that study that you're referencing, that maybe we can do, we should do, right? And this is not to punish people that, again, have this need, but then also we have to make sure that if there's a way to recoup some of those, costs, correct, from insurance, and then again, also doing some sort of outreach and education too, to individuals, because sometimes the calls might be just, well, I need you to come in and open up my, pills, so, as outrageous that might sound like.
Which is older, we get a lot of those to public assist for helping patients off the floor or lockouts or whatnot, but then when it comes to lockouts and whatnot, the liability of property damage, depending on what the lockout is, but again, nobody gets charged.
Thank you. Anybody else, public comment?
Yes, Mr. Junkin?
Yes, people that ask about their conversation, I believe the everybody's using our service, they might gonna have a chance to have Medicare and the Medi-Cal. So we can bill for that, so we can cooperating our revenue. And also, what I understand that if we have more staff, that we can more secure for our safety for our citizens, but same time we can have a more revenue. I believe that we have a lot of ambulance calling, and sometimes even we have the ambulance, we might not gonna be able to fit it. So I'm glad we have two ambulance. They used to run only one, and but in condition of our employees and the safety officers, which is one of the part of the right now, so we're talking about the fire departments. And what happened to the mold? You guys still have the mold?
Fire station number 2?
Yeah, as a facility and the fire departments, they still have a mold?
No.
Not anymore? So it was starting for about 10 years ago, at least. They were kicking the cans, and we not finished our fire department yet. It was starting at that time. We found that time was 2012, 13, we funded through the issues, the bond, major issue bond, we create the fund for the fire department. And since then, we still not done yet, and we don't have a proper ready our facility for our safety officers. And I believe this is time to finish it, end it, to kicking the cans, so we can finally we got the job done, and we can focusing for our serving our community and save of our citizens. And I believe, this council is going to be probably at 6 months or 5 months, but at least making some changes or something, closing the books to be able to show the people, serve the community better than what we have. And I'm glad the fire departments to doing their job, and I hopefully to satisfy, or hopefully the citizens can say, oh, we have a fire department, so we get help from the loss of the people's life. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kim. Thank you. So that concludes our meeting, and before we adjourn, I would like to thank every single staff member all the staff from the city that participated in creating these presentations, and of course, everyone that, works and provides services to our citizens day in, day out. You're truly appreciated. Thank you. So with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Second.
So we adjourn at about 8:20.
Yeah.